Well, that next year, Barry Seal gets indicted.
Right.
So he gets indicted over two serious charges. He tried to make a deal with the Florida Task Force and the Baton Rouge Task Force, and they both rejected the deal. So he was tried in 1984, and he was convicted on all counts on the first indictment. Yeah. So after facing a really, really heavy sentence, he initially contacted the Vice President Drug Task Force. At the time, it was, George Bush, was running it as a vice president. And then he agreed to be a informant for the DEA.
Let me tell you how that come about. I believe he got 10 years, and he got out on appeal bond. Mm-hmm. And he flew his Learjet up to Washington, and he knocked on Edwin Meese's door, the Attorney General. And he said, listen, they're bringing tons of cocaine up here, and they run him out of the office. So he came back again the next day, and he said, listen, they are bringing tons of cocaine here. I can help you catch them. I'll make a deal. So I believe they put him in touch with Jake Jacobson, a DEA agent. Mm-hmm. I met him. I liked him. Nice fella I think he's a crop duster from Alabama, somewhere down there. We'd have been on the same team. We'd have been buddies. But so anyway, that's when Barry went to work, and he had that cargo plane with a ramp in the back, and they went down and got 1.5 tons of cocaine. Stopped in Nicaragua to refuel, and when he took off, he bellied it in. He called and said, we need another airplane. And you see Pablo Escobar and one or two of the generals there carrying the cocaine from one plane to the other. And so that's in that photograph's in the book, The Big White Lie. The Kings of Cocaine.
Right. So he's essentially being an informant for the DEA while working with Escobar and David Ochoa and everyone else. So he's now basically implicating all the kingpins in Colombia.
He has it on him. The president of the Turks and Caicos, where he's hauling money to, he gets him convicted.
Yeah. And I guess at the time, there was a bunch of major raids that were happening in Colombia. So Escobar wanted to set up a production facility in Nicaragua.
Yes.
And that's where the whole Nicaragua thing started to come together.
Now, we were landing in Nicaragua before that, mm-hmm. if we wanted to. Mr. Radio silence come in.
Okay, but you don't know about any of this stuff that's happening. You're
but
sitting in prison.
I had heard that Barry was probably gone bad while I was in prison.
Aha. Okay. So, you start out in Pleasanton, you get transferred to Lompoc.
Right.
And then in 1984, you get out.
Yes, that's right.
So you only served like 2 years?
2 years, 26 months, something like that, and got paroled.
30 years on parole.
And then 30 years of parole.
Okay.
When they violate my parole, they made me do 11 years for a parole violation. That's the longest in history.